delighted to have you here, and I would like to just point out real quickly some special guests. In addition to you campers, trainees, and you parents and friends and family, we thank you so much for being here. We have with us today also two astronauts, Dr. Serena Aunon,
Awesome.
Dr. Lee Morin, current astronauts. Also like to thank Dr. Deborah Barnhart, who's the CEO and Executive Director of the U.S. Space Rocket Center. And then it is an absolute treat to introduce to you today a man who really needs no introduction. It's an honor to have with us NASA's 12th Administrator, General Charles Bolden. In addition to, before he began his duties serving as Administrator, retired Major General Bolden served 34 years in the United States Marine Corps, including 14 years as a member of NASA's astronaut office. Traveled into orbit 4 times aboard the shuttle between 1986 and 1994, commanded 2 of those missions. His flights included deployment of the Hubble Space Telescope and the first joint U.S.-Russian shuttle mission. It's no surprise that he is also a member of the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame. His presence here at Space Camp today marks his 2nd trip to Space Camp, and indeed in this very spot, but it marks the first time he's been here for a Space Camp graduation. Would you please help me give a very warm welcome to Major General Charles Bolden.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Where are the parents? Are you in the back? Who's from Chicago? Ah, big group. Hey, fantastic. Well, I was talking to some of them in here. In fact, where were you telling me, where do the Bears practice? Oh, okay. Is his mom here? Aunt and uncle, huh? All right, are you Chicago Bear fans? Yeah, I guess that's a dumb question, huh? How about Northwestern? Yeah. No, that's all right. That's okay. Well, thanks very much for allowing me to be here, Dr. Barnard. Thank you so very much. And thanks to all of you. I just want to take a few moments to talk to you a little bit because I know you're excited about your graduation and probably just can't wait to get back to school. Is that right? No? Yeah, well, you know, what you can do when you go back to school is you're going to be able to tell them about your space camp experience, and hopefully you will do that because it's very unique. And, you know, if you haven't already determined that, then you need to understand you have had an opportunity to do something that not a lot of kids in your school have probably had an opportunity to do, and something that a lot of them probably will not have an opportunity to do. And I think you met Serena already, didn't you? And did she tell you what's special about her in addition to being an astronaut? You know where she sat one time? Right over there. As a matter of fact, so the lesson in that means that somebody sitting on the front row today is probably going to, well, I don't know whether we'll be wearing the dark blue flight suits when you become astronauts or whether we're into something else by then, but at least one of you and maybe more are going to be sitting over there and coming back to Space Camp as an alum saying, this, boy, I remember when I was here as a space camper, and let me tell you about my time in space. So hopefully that's going to happen for some of you, as well as probably some of your instructors back there. And I know some of them have hopes of doing that. I think, you know, as many of you know, and has already been mentioned, I've had the opportunity actually been blessed to fly in space on the shuttle. And I actually flew 4 times. Twice on Discovery, once on Columbia, and then once on Atlantis. Twice as a pilot and twice as a commander. And I'll tell you, now having an opportunity to be the NASA administrator, and I tell people I head the coolest agency in government. I'm not sure I don't head the coolest agency in anything, but I really have a very good time. I now live and work in Washington, D.C., although, you know, our home is in Houston, or at least that's where our house is, for a little while, anyway. But we're now in Washington, D.C. at NASA headquarters. I have to tell you that the chance to come here and talk to you, though, and share just a little bit of my thoughts is really special for me today. As you've hopefully learned during this past week, there's nothing, I really believe, nothing more exciting and exhilarating than learning about space and actually having an opportunity to talk about it and to simulate the biggest ride of your lives. What hopefully for some of you will become reality one day. My own interest in science and engineering actually started when I was growing up, not too far away from here. I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. If you go kind of southeast of Huntsville for a while, a few hours, you'll end up in the middle of the state of South Carolina. I mean, dead center. And that's where Columbia is. It's the capital of the state. It's the home of the Fighting Gamecocks. I didn't get a lot of reaction. You know, they're picked to be number one in the SEC. No? Yeah. Oh, okay. See, the kids up here are going, what are they talking about? Because none of you are from SEC country, right? Anybody from the SEC country?
Tennessee.
Tennessee? That's right, okay. Even wearing the Tennessee orange.
In honor of Pat Summitt.
In fact, that's, you know, she's my, excuse me a second, because we're gonna talk about one of my heroes, and one of my heroes is Pat Summitt. For those of you who are basketball fans, anybody know who Pat Summitt is? Because some of the stuff I'm gonna talk to you about is, Pat Summitt is a great example. She's a women's basketball coach at the University of Tennessee, and I love Pat Summitt. She teaches her young ladies about some of the same things you've learned here this week. Teamwork, leadership, even, you know, you did a lot of stuff about technology. Pat Summitt talks about technology on the basketball court. She actually has a practice team. I don't know how many of you knew this. What's unique about Pat Summitt's practice team? Anybody know? It's men. She gets on scholarship, by the way. The Pat Summitt and the Tennessee Volunteers, the women Vols, actually put men on scholarship to play on the practice team because she wants her young ladies to be able to play against the best. And she figures if they practice against the best, then they'll be able to play against the best. And she announced this past week that she has early onset of Alzheimer's or dementia, but that she intends to continue coaching. Persistence, commitment, dedication, all kinds of things that you all have learned here this week. Teamwork was a big deal, right? You got a chance to rotate through the different positions as you went through things here. Let me ask you a question. What was the biggest thing you learned while you were here this week? Most important. And it no big deal, but it may have been, food's lousy. Space food really sucks. Anything you remember that you'll take back home with you? That's right. How about you? What do you remember? He was saying when he came here, he was just, you know, like one of a few group of people. And as the week went on and on, they pulled in more and more, and now they're leaving as a group of friends. So everybody's leaving here with some lesson. As I said, I grew up in South Carolina. And since 1982, 540,000 young people from all over the world have had this experience that you just finished this week. Many of them have gone on to successful careers. We introduced you to, we've talked about several. They've been successful careers in engineering, science, space exploration. 3 of them have gone on to become astronauts. And they all happen to be women. And I say that actually with a great deal of pride because, you know, I have a son and daughter, but I have 3 granddaughters. I have no grandsons, 3 granddaughters. And so I'm really working to get them to space camp. And one of them wants to be a rocket scientist, so I've got to get her to come here. Dottie Metcalf Lindberger, who I think you all have learned a little bit about. And I saw a picture of Dottie over there. Kathleen Rubens, and then Serena Aunon, who's here with you today, who you heard from. And I think that you talked to him already, didn't you, Serena?
Yes.
Okay. What you may not know is that the deputy at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, my deputy, Lori Garver, is an alum of Space Camp. And actually spent some time in Russia training to fly on Soyuz as a part of the Space Travelers program, you know, where she was going to fly for somebody. So she's actually, she's had this experience also and talks about it frequently. In fact, a little-known secret, she met her husband here. Not when she was your age. They came sort of as, the adult program and everything, and they met and fell in love and got married. I believe another NASA astronaut, Lee Morin, who's here with us today, probably would have been even better had he come through Space Camp. No doubt. Now, Dr. Morin, he no doubt, he said. So we expect this experience that you've had this week to be a launch pad for all of you as you pursue your own career paths, wherever they take you. Next week, as you come back to Earth and you start a new school year, I hope that you'll continue to pursue your interest in science, technology, engineering, and math. As you think about your future, you should know that yes, NASA will need more astronauts as we prepare for human space flights to Mars and beyond. And the comment was made earlier that the landscape here will be whatever we decide we're going to do. Mars is eventually where we're going to go. I think if you look at any book, in any science fiction book, even way back to before we had airplanes. The airplane's only been around since what, 1903? But for decades, if not centuries before then, science fiction writers wrote of humans on Mars. And so it is the ultimate place, although my middle granddaughter tells me, nah, we're going farther. But for right now, Mars is the ultimate destination for humans, and that's what we tend to work toward with our international partners, if you will. As you think about your future, you should know that NASA is really working diligently to make it possible for you to continue with your dream of becoming an astronaut and going to space. America will need more scientists and engineers to stay competitive with the rest of the world. I also like to remind folk that NASA and the space industry needs employees of all types, not just astronauts. We need engineers, accountants, logisticians, secretaries, and facility support workers. We need people who love science, aeronautics, space travel, and exploration. It takes a team of people, as you all have found out this week, to pull off the extremely difficult missions that NASA does. And one thing I've learned through my years is that we are all training for something. There's always something that we can learn. Finally, let me say to Dr. Barnhart and all the crew of trainers back here who have worked with you this week, thank you all for giving these young people the experience of a lifetime. Congratulations again to all of you who are Space Camp graduates, and congratulations and thanks to the moms and dads and aunts and uncles and guardians who made it possible for them to be here, but especially for those of you who took the time to come out and celebrate with them. You should be proud also, and you should be ready for the endless questions that will come after this week about how soon can I do this, and how soon can I do that, and how soon can we all do other things. Before I sit down, I'm going to tell you one more story. It's about a dear friend of mine who is now has his own rocket company. He's a guy named Franklin Chang Diaz, born and raised in a place called San Jose, Costa Rica. And how old are you? 10. How about you? I think nobody's 7, right? You have to be 8. Have to be 9. Okay. When Franklin was 7, he went in and talked to his dad. He said, I need to go to the United States. And Franklin's dad, who was an engineer and had been here and had friends here, said, for what? He said, because I'm going to be an astronaut, and I have to go to the United States to become an astronaut. Franklin's dad said, yeah, right. Go back to school and study. And so Franklin persisted, went back. 10 years later, at the age of 17, he graduated from Lincoln High School in San Jose, Costa Rica. And he went back to his dad. He said, it's time for me to go to the United States. His father said, for what? He said, same thing it was 10 years ago. I want to be an astronaut. And I have to go to the United States to become an astronaut. And Franklin's dad argued with him, argued, and then he finally gave up. He said, okay, look, I have a friend in a place called Hartford, Connecticut. I'm going to let you go there. And he gave Franklin a note. The note said, this is my son Franklin about whom I've spoke. Humor him for as long as you can. When you tire of it, put him on an airplane and send him back home. He gave Franklin $50 in cash, that note, and a one-way ticket to Hartford, Connecticut. Franklin spoke no English when he came here, enrolled in the University of Connecticut, almost flunked out the first year, taught himself English, Went on to graduate with honors from the University of Connecticut, went to MIT and earned a PhD in plasma physics, and today is considered to be one of the world's foremost plasma physicists. Owns a company that is in Houston, Texas, and outside of San Jose, Costa Rica, that is building an engine called the Vasmer engine that theoretically will enable us to get to Mars and other places in at least half the time that it takes us today. And I expect the same out of some of you. So take the experience that you've had this week, cherish it, remember it, bug your parents about following up on it, do well in school, study really hard, don't let your teachers off the hook. Do not leave class without making sure that you understand every single day's instruction. That's why they're there and they want to help you. So make them do it. Congratulations again. I wish all of you the absolute best in school and the rest of your lives. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, General Bolden. What a treat to have you here with us today, and congratulate these fine young people on their accomplishments. Well, we are going to allow General Bolden on with the rest of his duties here in town today, and we're going to go on ahead with graduation. Are you ready to graduate? Have you had a good week? Good. Did you learn anything? Okay, so it wasn't all fun and games. You actually learned something and taken something home with you, as General Bolden said. And I think that what he told you about Franklin Chang Diaz is really, really, really important. It's one of the things I typically say if I speak at graduation is about understanding how to make dreams come true. You need to dream big dreams, but then you must work hard to make those dreams come true. You cannot just talk about it. You have to make steps that way and go on to fulfill that dream. You want to know the secret weapon? You want to know the magic bullet about how to make a dream come true? There's a lady named Willie B. White in the 1930s in the state of Mississippi. She was an African American woman. In the 1930s in the state of Mississippi. You think it was an easy thing for her to dream big dreams at that time? I can tell you, I'm from Mississippi, so I can say this. No, it wasn't at all. But this is what she said, and this is what you guys need to know. A dream without a plan is just a wish. You get that? You figure out what it is that you would like to do. You find out how to do it, and then you get on that path, and you make strides in that direction, and you're not deterred by people who tell you you can't do it, and you find out what the rules of the game are, play the game, and that is how you make dreams come true. I promise you that. That's how Franklin Chang Diaz is who he is today. So, ready for me to hush? Yeah, that usually gets like a strong applause. I don't understand. Well, what we're going to do, and this is camp, so this is not formal, so relax, enjoy yourselves. We're going to call up the first team. It's Team Aldrin with Lenny Finley, and we're going to let these guys get their wings. Come on up, Lenny.
My name is Lenny Finlay, and I am the day team leader for the Aldrin team. We want to thank our awesome night team leader, who is Mark Simpson. Fantastic. Awesome team leader to share a team with. This team is named after Buzz Aldrin, who is the second man to walk on the moon. Now, we've had so much fun this week, and we've talked a lot about what they wanted me to say. And this is what it is, okay? Of this week, they have said that the best parts of the week are simply making new friends from all over the world. From flying through the particles of space in the IMAX theater